In today's episode of Where To Next, Road to the Presidency, Malungelo Booi gets access to Orania, a town exclusively reserved for Afrikaners only, and finds out why the May 2024 elections matter to some of them. Ziyanda Ngcobo tells a story of how activists in a coal mining town in Limpopo are constantly living in fear.
While Orania is often viewed by many as a bust of white residents striving to uphold the traditional values of old South Africa, locals here vehemently refute this perception. For them, their focus lies in safeguarding their culture and heritage, a commitment deeply rooted in the core of their community and constitution.
Met Joost Strydom, one voice among 3,000 residents who call Orania home, dispelling the myth of stagnant town. Beyond the surface lies a thriving economy fueled by diverse sectors, including services, construction, farming and tourism, sustaining Orania's growth and prosperity. It has its own municipality, its own clinic, a bank with Ora as a local currency, but also trade using the South African rand. There are 2 schools with their curriculum. Karel Boshoff, a proud Oranian with roots spanning 3 generations, believes in the power of his vote.
Yes, I'm going to vote. Joost, I've probably spoken to you about Orania's ideals to be a place where the Afrikaner community can create its own future, set its own destiny. And so in an election year like this, some of us take time to consider when voting who would be the best candidate for us, for our community.
Boshoff, a torchbearer for Orania's continuity, is clear what he wants to achieve with his vote.
The sentiment is a bit different over here. When you drive around, you see a lot of posters saying, encouraging you to vote to save South Africa. I personally don't really consider saving South Africa something I can do with my vote. Like I said, my vote primarily goes out to someone who shares my ideals for empowering local governments, empowering local businesses and leaders. If we are going to fix South Africa, it's not going to come from the top. It's going to come from the bottom.
You feel like you're part of South Africa?
We have done a lot to gain a certain sort of independence in Orania. For example, we've taken big steps to be independent from the South African power grid. Economically, we are one of the biggest growing towns of our size. So we do in practice we are independent to a certain extent.
But being an exclusively Afrikaner doesn't mean Oranians are hell-bent on preserving an old repressive apartheid system, argues Joost Strydom of the Orania movement.
Our goal is to create a space for Afrikaners, a place where we can live our lives. That doesn't mean we live in antagonizing other people or other groups or other cultures. To be honest, because of the fact that we are a cultural community and we are proud of who we are, we can with confidence reach out to other cultures and build relations without state interference. Forced state interference is the death of cultural cooperation.
In fact, Stridom maintains the ideology of Orania was born way long before democratic South Africa.
Our identity is something that comes for hundreds of years, but we must also embrace new ideas. And the new ideas that I'm referring to is something like saying, well, if Afrikaners want to survive as a group, you have to do our own work. That's not the standard in South Africa, but we're embracing a new idea. We must liaise with groups outside of the formal diplomatic sphere, groups that maybe share some of our interests and ideals and so on. So it's preservation and sustainment to say, here we are a reality. Afrikaners is part of Africa.
Already, Oranians have started forging relations with other communities, not only in South Africa, but also other parts of the world.
We have a good relationship, a formal relationship with the Xhosa community in Mnyameni in the Eastern Cape, but we also had good diplomatic outreach from the Barulong people, from the Ambabele people. And internationally, we have friends in Belgium, the Flemish people, we have the South Tyroleans, which is a German-speaking community in Italy. And all of these communities view things in a way that the Orania idea makes sense for them. So what we did is,
how are you doing? No. Welcome here. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Orania is already planning for its future, an increase of its 3,000 population to be a community that would be able to accommodate 10,000 like-minded Afrikaners. And this former Joburger is tasked to ensuring that the area is infrastructure ready for the boom.
We moved to Orania to start a training institution in Orania. The reason being that Orania was in need for certain expertise. We need builders, we need plumbers, we need electricians to build the city. But if you want that kind of expertise, you must train people to be able to do that. And that's why we started a training institution with the name of Worker Training, and they train people who can build the city. We are very busy. We are busy building a town, building a city. So it takes a lot of effort. And in Orania, you have various jobs at the same time. So a lot of things that needs to be done, especially in the community as well. If you're a community, you need to take responsible for each and everything in the community, being it caring for old age or social problems, all those kind of stuff. We need to take responsibility for that ourselves.
The looming May 29 elections hold significant importance for the people of Orania, recognizing the intrinsic link between their community and the broader South African landscape. They understand that the outcomes in South Africa reverberates into their lives, underscoring the interconnectedness that drives their engagement in shaping the future.
With the echoes of South Africa's historic democracy still resonating, the quest for equitable access to essential services is at the forefront. Here in Lephalale, nestled within the Waterberg district, lies a region rich on coal reserves, a cornerstone of the nation's power grid. However, as the nation grapples with an electricity crisis, the idea of more coal mining is met with fierce opposition.
Climate change e costwa ke medumo e dirang ke bona. Because hangebe e se medumo ya di mine, nge bosna exchange, nge re phela go tshwana khale. Like nkebe re sa sokole ka metsi, nkebe pula ena ka nako ka mkgola re godileng ka teng. So dilo di change.
Lephalale is a water-scarce region that relies largely on boreholes for supply. But it wasn't always this way. For this activist, who is with the Bopanang Women's Community Organization, who grew up in the Khashongwane village, remembers a time when agriculture was booming because rainfall was regular.
Busy ke bereka ka agriculture. Ke motho a lemang. Ke rata temo. Mara ke re laolwa ke pula ka re no. Ha go sana metsi ka se metsi wa no setsa mo mashimong. Metsi ke a manyane.
On the other side of Lephalale in Abbotspoort, another one of the 40 villages in the region, here the legacy of mining casts a somber shadow over generations, shaping a narrative of health hazards. We've just driven a couple of kilometers on the outskirts, or to the outskirts of Abbotspoort, where we've tried to locate where the Lephalale coal mining activity was meant to take place. And the reason why this process has been stalled is because the Earthlife NGO has taken the issuing of the mining license on review. It's about 3 years since this matter has been before the courts. And we're going to speak to a 29-year-old from the Machuba Young Girls Association. They are actually part of the fight against the starting of this mining activities. They've cited several reasons, such as health, but as well as what it does to the general community. And even in terms of processes, there are questions around whether enough public participation was done. Now, the reason why you're not going to see this young activist is because there's also a lot of fear for victimization in this area. So let's bring her in to talk more a little bit about why you don't believe, this mine would benefit you as a community.
I don't think this mine will benefit us because they didn't do proper consultation. So we don't know if it will benefit us or what. We don't even know the risks. We are a water scarcity area. We don't have water already. We are sharing water with the mines that are already here. So if another mine comes in, what will happen to us? It means there will be no water for us because the water will be going to the mines.
Lephalale was declared a national development node at one point in our country's democracy, leading to the construction of power stations like Medupi, the fourth largest plant globally. Yet the local community, especially the youth, don't seem to have reaped the benefits of this esteemed status.
How do you feel now as we prepare to go to the vote about the various political parties and how they've treated you as a community member of Abbotspoort and Lephalale?
I think I feel very bad. Like I don't have the energy for voting because already they are failing us. So I think they're doing things that benefit them rather than us.
The initial boom during the construction of Medupi has left residents struggling now that it has been completed.
So bana ba thoma drop out ba re chelete go Medupi because ba ba tsaka general work. Ba shimane ba bantsi ba tloetse dikolo ba ya mo no ke bo ha ba sa sebetsa ha ba sana next. Dikolo itsena ba di rekile kana go ela no di bela madi dikhoho. Ha di sa tsamaya because chelete ha e sa le yo.
Ha ba sa bereke mo Medupi.
Medupi ha e sa na mmereko o montsi o tshwana ka nako ela e thoma. Bana ha ba sa bereka ho setse maseha fela ha re ke a checka ngwana wa bo 11 14 years o na le ngwana ha re ke butsisa re ntate o kae ha mo tsebe le ho mo tsebe go bontsha hore e re senyeditse so ntwele ya hore e tlisa mmereko nna ke utlwisisa hore ke mmereko o.
The increasing role of civil society, juxtaposed with the perceived diminishing state involvement in a mining town like Lephalale, has had unintended and even deadly consequences.
Basically, because of the many activists are actually, being targeted. for standing their right, because as per the constitution of the country, everyone has a right to clean, safe and healthy environment. So communities here and the activists are being attacked for speaking the truth, for standing their right, and for also conscientizing the rest of the communities, because a lot of communities are uninformed. And the issues of jobs are being used as a way to actually gain, an endorsement from the community. But as soon as the communities endorse the mining activity, only to find that later it doesn't happen the way we expect.
Why don't you want your face shown?
It's because of the already like when I was very long re ba lositse ba ileng hore na ba le ba lwela like ditokelo tsa bona.
While the Lephalale mayor acknowledges water issues and inconsistent tanker distribution, a new bulk water project with the National Water and Sanitation Department is on the horizon.
Lephalale is also blessed. Some of you used to say it's very hot here. For us, we believe that next to each and every problem there is a solution. So Lephalale will remain the main role player in making sure that we deal with the energy crisis in the country. Of course, you know that we are contributing 40% of coal in the country. We are having 2 biggest power stations in the country, amongst others. Therefore, with this solar plant and the radiant part of it, we will still contribute meaningfully in making sure that we bring solution to the energy crisis that we are facing as a country.
From authorities to residents, hope lingers as the promise of renewable energy, fueled by the region's intense heat, marks a potential turning point for Lephalale's future.